if you're only performing that element of your strength, your glory, and your story in one place? Because if that job, well, for some of us, when that job is gone, that's Hey now, how is everybody doing? Welcome to Red Alert Diaries with Tanya E. Hood. Those of you that have been watching know that I am unpacking the elements of Robert. In this section, Robert is sitting in front of the mirror, looking at himself, not really recognizing who he was. Have you ever looked in the mirror and not recognized who you truly are at the core of your being? Because what he saw and the man staring back at him seemed very distant. For the first time, he really realized that he had spent most of his life being who others needed him to be, the dependable father, the co-worker that was leading whenever he was asked, and the provider for Maya. But beneath those roles, he couldn't answer a simple question. Who am I? I couldn't answer that question either when it was asked of me. I'm wondering if you can even answer that question. Because for a lot of us, we find ourselves in the aftermath of some chaotic moments, losing elements of ourselves. I remember what that was like. In the aftermath of the chaos of my divorce, I didn't know simple things, like my favorite color, my favorite flower. What was something that could bring me joy in those moments when I felt deep? Some of us are stuck in depressive moments because we are dwelling on memories. The past often causes you to feel some type of way because you're having difficulty imagining a future that is better. Well, today, I want to unpack for you 3 strategies that I use that help me rediscover my identity. First, reconnect with your core values. Too many of us are not really familiar with the core values that we have, and they are driving our lives. Take a moment to define what truly matters to you. Because what really matters to you, lots of times, you're not honoring. You're doing things of what I call basics, basic survival. And there's nothing wrong with surviving, but if you live your entire life in survival mode, you will malfunction and lose elements of yourself that should never be lost. So write down your top 5 values, reflect on them, take a look at them, and start seeing how you're applying them in your daily life. Because most of the time when we're walking through our journey in life, we don't really apply our core values daily, even though they're a driver. Because if somebody comes to you and they tap on one of them core values, you'll find yourself in conflict. And for those of you that I have supported in the past with several of my training programs, we walk through what it looks like when things are going well and when you enter into conflict. Because it is in that space, in that place, that you are going to have to be clear. What you truly value is how you will connect with you. And then you'll be able to truly allow that to be seen into the world. Here's the next thing I want you to do. Audit your roles. The role you play, be it parent, employee, or friend, is not really who you are. We have this thing in our society, especially if you live in the United States, where your title is designated to be who you are. But that's not true. You see, I'm a mother. I'm a sister, I'm a wife, I'm a friend. But at the core of those elements is Tanya. Not my titles, not my roles, because I have lost the role of wife before. That divorce left me feeling some type of way because I had tied all of who I was into the role of being a wife. And then when I got divorced, y'all, it did something to me. But here's the thing. I took the time in between because many of you know I'm in a new marriage now. But in that 7-year gap between my first marriage and my second marriage, I discovered Tanya. I discovered the love of Tanya that I never even imagined existed. So when I got into my new title of wife once again, on this end, Tanya is clear about who she is. I'm no longer defined by that particular role, wrapping all of my being into it, being supportive, being loving, being caring. That is nothing wrong with those elements of my being because they are part of my core values. But when I decided to take my worth and the thing that I naturally do and tie it to a title, oh, that's where I started losing me. So ask yourself, which one of the core values that you are looking at reflects who you are? Which ones do you need to start defining more? Because you're wearing so many hats in your world that you're not honoring anything beneath them. Take this time today and honor you. Honor you at the core of your being so that you can start maneuvering through life, be it personal or professional, to do the thing that you would have to do. And you won't find yourself like Robert found himself that morning, staring at a man that he barely knew. An individual he could no longer really be clear could function in any capacity that would support him in his future. I don't want that to be your journey. So here's the third thing that you can do. Name and nurture your strengths. Just like Robert rediscovered what naturally he did well, the things that bring you energy instead of those things that drain you. Looked at me like I was crazy. But I knew what I had to do. It was time for him to go. So I packed up his things. Red alert. Is he the one? The pocket guide, the find and love of your life, tells my story. The free chapter is available for you in the link below. Because a lot of us are working on jobs that are draining us. And if you are in an environment where you're feeling like the rug is being pulled beneath you, you have poured everything that you had onto that job, and now all of a sudden, poof, stuff is not there. The things you have tied yourself into doing so well, you discover when you're not doing it on a regular basis, you don't know who you are. This is where I want you to name your strengths. Find the ways that you can do this week. Pick one thing this week that you can do in your strength. On your 9 to 5, you're a natural leader. Just like Roberts, a natural leader. But he only performed that element mostly inside of his environment at work. And if you're only performing that element of your strength, your glory, and your story in one place, you won't often get clarity that you can enhance it elsewhere and allow it to support you, creating a future that will benefit you better. Because if that job, well, for some of us, when that job is gone, that strength that resides inside of your being is still there. That strength that resides in your being is still you. That strength you brought to the table. It is why you have been able to show up and show out and do all the various things that you did for that job. I want you to consider in this moment today, do it for you. Do what you need, the strength that you possess, that you have been sharing with everybody, everywhere. Do it for you. And in you doing it, you'll create an alignment between who you are and how you show up. And so for today, if anything that I've shared resonates with you, then like, comment, and share this information with others. But before I leave, I want to leave you with the next level note. Sometimes we need assurance. I shared previously in a different episode a small snippet about a biblical character named Gideon. Gideon was one of those individuals who wasn't really clear about who he was at the core of his being. When God found him hiding, he was hiding, doing something that he should have been doing out in the open, but he didn't recognize who he was. He wasn't clear about his strengths. So he saw himself as the least in his family when God saw him as a mighty warrior. When you don't recognize how you were created, you'll wear a title that doesn't suit you. When you don't recognize how you were created, you'll allow the strengths that you bring to the table be defined by others. You will allow your brilliance to be dimmed down because you don't know who you are. And Gideon didn't recognize his own strength. He looked at his circumstances and he saw his limitations. But God designed us in such a way that he knows to look into our potential and see our leadership. And if you can't see it, ask God to reveal it to you. I've shared on numerous occasions that there are moments that you need to take yourself back to the manufacturer. And when Gideon decided to let Jesus join him on the journey, he transformed his identity and started believing what God said about him. I am showing up today, sharing with you what I share, because I decided to tie my identity into what I believe God said about me. Because if you looked at Tanya on paper, on paper, in the country that I'm born in, being Black is not beautiful. Being a woman is demonized. In this environment, if you have what is considered defaults, elements that's not pristine, you are discarded. Some of you know I'm dyslexic. I have other several neurodivergent elements to my being. And now it's becoming a little more common to be okay with being dyslexic. But when I was showing up with my beautiful brown skin, my Black hue, the elements that make me, the beauty that I'm designed in, it wasn't received like others just said it. It was received. So if you find yourself in a position where you are tying your identity into what others say, wearing those hats, the many hats that we often wear to get through this thing called life, it's not often supporting you. Go back and truly understand how God made you and believe him so that you can make the changes that you need to maximize your life. And if you find yourself in a place like Robert did, where self-doubt is being redefined into self-discovery, let Jesus join you on the journey so that you can have his divine meet you in the moments of uncertainty to remind you that you are amazing, that he made you glorious. And for many of you that know, when God showed me, when I read in Ephesians 2:10, that I am a masterpiece, I want you to know that God called you a masterpiece as well because he knows how he made you. And so for today, if you don't remember anything else, here's what I need you to remember. Reconnect with your core values, order your roles, and not your worth. And then name and nurture your strengths, because it is your strengths that will carry you into the future that you desire, that thing that you are fighting to constantly get. Oh, you'll be able to receive it when you're clear about who you are at the core of your being. And if you want someone to join you on the journey, feel free to go to my website, tanyaehood.com. There you can click under the Work With Me tab and see the various ways that we can work with one another. In the meantime, this is Tanya E. Hood, walking in my purpose, and I want you to do the same.